afternoon. 1200-105, patrol 4717. F757 Hotel Whiskey, you're parked on the north side, correct? That's affirmative, 31.
Sunday morning, December 17th, 2017. Christmas just a week away, and holiday travelers lining up, ready to go at Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport.
We got 2 lines, guys, left and right.
Holiday vacations starting now. The weather, a high of 48, overcast skies with only slight chances of light rain, few delays, and even fewer cancellations. Holiday travelers couldn't ask for anything more. Then, just before 1 p.m., the world's busiest airport was in the dark, at a standstill. All of it, no computers to check passengers in, no operating security checkpoints, no escalators, elevators, or the plane train. No Wi-Fi, no outlets to charge up phones, no restaurants, no stores, nothing. The busiest airport in the world might as well have been on the dark side of the moon.
We talked to a man over there, and he said, "You're not going anywhere because the airport's closed," and we thought he was teasing.
Well, we got here, and like 10 minutes later, all the power went off, and we were stranded here. And the light came back for like a minute, and then went off again. And we're just here waiting. There's been no information from anybody about what's going on.
No one is telling us anything. We're standing here. We know that flights are delayed now, so it's going to push us back. We don't know what they're going to do, but I think we do deserve an explanation from someone.
No information and no public address system because of the power outage, and no megaphones to try to spread the word, leaving tens of thousands of people in the airport on their own and in the dark.
I'm so tired. I'm hungry. I haven't eaten all day. No coat, and I'm cold. And I need to go to work tomorrow.
Not even Atlanta police officers knew what to tell people.
We literally have no power, and the ETA for having power is very vague.
What they didn't know, and would find out later, was that nearly right under their feet, deep underneath the airport, in a tunnel that delivered electricity to the airport, an inferno had broken out.
The fumes were so poisonous that we could not access the facilities that are under the airport to determine what was wrong. We then had to use a series of blowers and fans to clear that corridor so that Georgia Power employees could access it.
I was the airport chief for many years, and I had not seen a fire that intense in that area ever.
The fire not only destroyed the main power lines, but it also destroyed the power transfer switches that would have activated another power substation at the airport to start sending critical electricity to the terminals and keep people moving.
With the failure of the switchgear, it actually took both sources out. The intense heat took the wire that's mounted on the walls out of service for us. So that's what we've been responding to.
Before yesterday, did you know that one incident like this could knock out power to the entire airport?
I can't say that we did. The redundant system has actually been operating here for quite a while. We've never had a problem with it. Okay, it has been flawlessly. It has been performing great for us.
And thousands of passengers were stuck on the airplanes, on the tarmac for hours, thinking maybe, just maybe, the power would come back on.
Coming from Wichita, Kansas.
Kristen and Robert Struth had just landed for their connection flight to Dulles. It was supposed to be a quick stop in Atlanta. Instead, they spent 3 hours stuck on an airplane going nowhere.
We were out there and we were planning on getting lunch after we got off the plane, and we said, "Oh, we got 30 minutes to grab something to eat." And then we sat there.
Yeah, we sat there for 2 or 3 hours.
3 hours,
yeah.
yeah.
In the dark.
Well,
on the plane.
On the plane. The people were very, very nice.
By late afternoon, light from the large windows was fading, and passengers' hopes dimming right along with the setting sun.
I've been trying to ask everybody, how can they help me? Nobody wants to help me. Everybody doesn't know anything. So I'm stuck.
Passengers now in total darkness. They started using what power they had left on their phones as their flashlights. The city bringing in battery-powered floodlights for the terminals, and passengers having to yell into the darkness to find their loved ones. And then what did or didn't happen next remains a controversy to this day. Did someone give an evacuation order? This Delta employee said someone did.
But we are asking that you evacuate the airport. Everything has been canceled leaving out of Hartsfield International Airport. Gotta go to the other.
Are you asking people to leave the airport? Are you asking people to leave the airport?
Yes, we are.
Tens of thousands of people with nowhere to go thought someone had ordered them out into the cold night. Temperatures now in the low 40s, but the mayor's office and airport management said they never gave an evacuation order.
Folks were saying that we should have immediately evacuated the airport. I completely disagree with that assessment. If we had given an evacuation order last night, there was a real chance that people would have become overly alarmed, and in the dark, more injuries would have occurred. So we made the call in concert with our airport partners that we should keep people in place, allow those who wanted to leave to get on MARTA.
So why did so many think there was an evacuation order? With all the layers of public and private interests at the airport, we'll probably never know. But now most of the stranded passengers who were inside were now left outside in the cold trying to leave the airport. But authorities had put up roadblocks to prevent cars from coming in and picking them up. The night only getting worse.
I know it's a lot of angry people. They were trying to fight them last night because they told us to get out. It was cold as ever outside. Like, I stood outside for 3 hours. Like,
Oh my gosh.
this is not cool, man.
Former Secretary of Transportation Anthony Fox, who was stuck on a Delta plane at Hartsfield-Jackson, tweeted, "Total and abject failure here at the Atlanta airport."
Once again, I just want to re-emphasize how deeply sorry I am for the inconvenience that was caused to thousands of passengers.
By day's end, 30,000 passengers just here in Atlanta had had their flights canceled.
Now, my daughter's just having a baby and she can't wait for me to get there. And she's apparently going into hospital, and I was panicking and trying to get there on time. But it looks like I'm going to be stuck here for the whole night.
Finally, after 12 hours in the dark and the calendar turning to Monday, jubilation. The lights were back on.
Everything's great. Everything's gravy, baby.
I'm really glad the lights are back on. I can finally talk to my family again. They've been worried about me.
It's a miracle.
The immediate crisis was now over, but it was only the beginning of tough questions for Georgia Power, the City of Atlanta, and airport leaders, such as why were there no backup generators? Why was there no backup public address system? And how were passengers all over the country going to rebook their flights just a week before Christmas?
We are at the North Terminal here at Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport. Just take a look at the crowd that is already here before 5 o'clock in the morning. These are the folks who had their flights canceled yesterday. They were redirected to other places, or they spent the night in a hotel last night waiting to see if they could get out of Atlanta today.
It was a long, tough night for stranded passengers who stayed here at the airport. We saw some sleeping on the floor while others were on a baggage carousel. Many stayed so they could be first in line at the check-in counters this morning.
What do you think? You gonna get out of the first flight of the day up to New York, or what?
I don't know. I don't really know. You know what I'm saying?
You're sure gonna try though, huh?
Yeah.
Georgia Power and airport officials immediately added cameras to the tunnels so they could see a fire starting and respond right away. They also moved the public address system to emergency backup power and added 40 megaphones across all the concourses and terminals. And the one question everyone had, what started the fire in the first place?
They believe that there may have been an intruder that got to one of the wires leading to the switch, and it was frayed. It's highly possible, they say, it was gnawed on by a rat.
NBC News reporting the very next night that a rat might have caused all this misery for so many people. And then Airport General Manager Roosevelt Council Jr. said in an interview with NBC that it was certainly possible a rat was to blame.
Was this a rat just chewing through some cables?
I don't even want to rule that out.
But almost immediately after the newscast ended, city and airport leaders strongly denied it, telling our Doug Richards there was absolutely no rat problem at the airport. Not one.
Did a rat chew on the wire?
Not at all. Not at all. Okay.
Is the tunnel free of rodents?
No rodents. We haven't seen any evidence of rodents.
Months later, Georgia Power completed its investigation, saying a failure of a switch or gearbox was to blame for the fire. 5 years later, many still skeptical. But that was only the start of Georgia Power's problems. Delta had to cancel 1,400 flights because of the blackout and lost an estimated $40 million in revenue. CEO Ed Bastian in a press release saying, "We will certainly be seeking the opportunity to have a conversation, then seek reimbursement. I don't know whose responsibility it is between the airport and Georgia Power, but we're going to have a conversation with both of them."
When we asked counsel about Delta's desire for compensation, he sidestepped the question.
We saw the article and we heard what Delta had to say. Okay, so we've not addressed it, but we are preparing a statement to respond to that.
A year after the blackout, the city announced they would spend $130 million on massive backup generators, settling what so many passengers couldn't believe, that the world's busiest airport had no backup generators capable of at least keeping air traffic moving.
What do you think about the backup generator and not, working?
Yeah, I'm questioning that. I was wondering about that. But some of the lights are on, so I would imagine there's some sort of generator that's working, but I am a little concerned that an airport this big wouldn't have a system to back up their computers.
Then in late 2020, with the pandemic decimating holiday travel, Georgia Power agreed to pay for 20 massive backup generators in order to settle litigation with Delta and the city of Atlanta. Generators the size of semi-trucks, similar to the one in this photo, supposedly with enough backup power to keep the airport running.
Being the size of the airport, I think we thought they will be better prepared to handle a situation like this with emergency plans or something, at least for basic services.
And here we are, 5 years later, everyone hoping there are no more problems still at the airport out of sight that might leave us all in the dark all over again.